G'day, I'm Justin Porter and I'm at the hospital and Nikki's getting her 6-month colonoscopy. Every 6 months she gets a colonoscopy and just to make sure there's no polyps in her colon, and she's going well. Nikki's going really well. She's on heart medication. She's doing well. Today I want to talk about, I'm at the hospital. I thought I'd make a video in PA Hospital in Brisbane, and today I thought I'd make a video on the numbing effects of religion. Now, if you are a religious person, if you cherish your religious belief, and if you are a happy Christian or a happy Jehovah's Witness, please turn off the video now, because I'm going to be dealing with truth and reality, and I'll be talking about the numbing effect of religious beliefs. So if you're not up to handling reality and truth, please turn off the video now. I want to be talking about, just recently, Pope Leo, the Pope, the Catholic Church. He has a new one. He's an American Pope. I don't know if Donald Trump had anything to do with that. But we have a new Pope, and millions of Catholics around the world are looking at this Pope like he is going to get us into heaven. This is the one that will get us into heaven. This is the Pope that is going to make us not die, not end up in the ground as maggot buffet. This Pope is a new one, and why not just get the Pope soap on a rope, and if you wash yourself with this Pope soap on a rope, you're never ever going to die, and you're not going to end up in the ground as maggot buffet, but you're going to go to heaven and walk on streets of gold. Now, isn't that what religion is really all about? Defeating death, making out that we really aren't going to die and end up in the ground as maggot buffet. We don't want that. We want to walk on streets of gold. Or if you are a Jehovah's Witness or an ex-Jehovah's Witness, you want to have a pet panda bear and a pet lion, and you want to build your own house, and you want to see your dead mother again, and your dead father, and your dead child right here on a paradise earth. Well, is that true? Is that true? What happens to us when we die? Now, we have a left hemisphere of the brain and a right hemisphere of the brain. The right hemisphere of the brain may be the logical hemisphere of the brain, and it looks at life and says, well, there is no one ever come back from the dead, right? There is no evidence that a personal God has ever pulled back the clouds and introduced himself, right? That's the logical part of the brain, the left hand of the brain. Now, the right side of the brain may be saying, I want there to be a God. I want there to be a friend, an eternal friend who's always there with me and is going to give me everlasting life and will make me see my dead mother again, and dead child, and dead husband and dead wife. That part of the brain wants there to be something, but this side said, whoa, there's not really anything there. So that's why people have doubt. And to me, faith equals faith, religious faith, to me, equals wishful thinking, part of the brain. Where doubt, to me, doubting, skepticism of religious belief, to me, equals courage, because it takes courage to look at our religious beliefs and face reality head on. Now, when we're born, we come into the world and we're screaming our heads off. We scream so much the doctor has to slap us to make us cry, but we're already going to cry when we're born. We scream and cry because we're brought into this existence, Now, if death is the opposite of life, that means that when we're born, we come out of nothingness, unless you believe in reincarnation, we come out of nothingness and come into conscious existence, and we scream and cry. Right. Is death the opposite, where we go from conscious existence of consciousness into nothingness again, and we basically stop crying when we die? When we stop crying when we die. The tears stop. The worries stop. Before you were born, there was no loneliness, no hunger, no cold, no heat. Before you were born, you had no troubles or worries. When we die, do we go back into that same beautiful state that you don't have to be scared of? Now, doctors in the hospital are always trying to save our lives, which is a good thing. Because we want to live, we want to experience this life and experience existence. Now, life really has no purpose or meaning. It has no story. It has no reason why we grow old, no reason why we die. There's no purpose, there's no reason, no story behind it. It's just the way things are. Animals die. Plants die. Everything dies. There's no purpose or meaning to us. But as an atheist or agnostic, you create your own purpose and meaning. Now, my purpose in life is to look after my beautiful wife, Nicole. So I create my own purpose and meaning in life. I look after my beautiful wife, Nicole. My purpose and meaning doesn't come out of a dusty old book called the Bible that 2,000-year-old dead men wrote. No, my purpose and meaning for life doesn't come out of a dusty old book called the Bible, written by 2,000-year-old dead men who thought the sun went around the earth and who thought God made Adam and Eve out of clay, because ancient people, even today, we still make figurines out of clay. Little kids make people out of clay and Play-Doh. But the evolution is true. We know Adam and Eve isn't true. We have overwhelming evidence that evolution is true. And in 1976, when I was a Catholic, in 1976, when I was 15, I was going to a Catholic school. I went to Christian Brothers High School. And I was a Catholic. I believed in Jesus and the Bible. And I remember in 1976, I asked the Christian brother at the school in scripture class, he said, "Is there any questions you want to ask?" And I said, is Adam and Eve true and the flood? And he said, no, this is a Christian brother. He said, no, Adam and Eve is not true. The flood never happened. It's not true. And then I asked the question, is there a hellfire of torment? And the Christian brother said, yes, there is a hellfire of torment, but Adam and Eve is not true, and the flood's not true, and evolution is true. Evolution. And I thought, well, how can that be? How can that be? That cannot be, because the Bible says. And I stopped becoming a Christian. I became an atheist, agnostic atheist when I was 15 in 1976. Interesting, 1976 was the year a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses left their religion in 1976. Now, for me, becoming an agnostic atheist at the age of 15, I still wondered if there was some other God, like a deist God that made everything and just left the universe and doesn't really care about humans. Maybe a God that is really bored with people and doesn't want anything to do with people because they bore him, and God's a boring God, and he's a no fun God, and he doesn't want anything to do with people at all. Nothing. He doesn't listen to prayers. He made us, but he can't give us everlasting life. Maybe there's a God like that. And when I was 18, I got interested in reincarnation. I got interested in reincarnation and religions of Hinduism, where if you're bad in this life, you'll come back as a cockroach. In my past life, I was a mosquito, but I was a good mosquito, and I didn't bite anybody, and I came back as this, Justin Porter. I came back as this because I was a good mosquito and I didn't bite anyone. But then my life before I was a mosquito, I was a sea slug. I was a slimy sea slug. And if you want to know what I did as a sea slug, I'm not going to tell you. Because if I tell you what I did when I was a slimy sea slug in the sea shore, you wouldn't want to know me. I was a very slimy sea slug if I was a mosquito, you know. So we see this reincarnation. And you see a lot of people, they were kings and queens, and they were angels, extraterrestrials, and they were all these... There's a police. The police are looking for me. You see the police go by there? So what's happening is that people are kings and queens. I was King Tutankhamun in the last life. I was Queen Nefertiti. But they never ever say they were a sea slug or a mosquito or anything other than a movie star, you know, and all the insects. So we must have all been insects, because there's more insects on Earth than any other creature. And when it comes to mammals, there's more bats on Earth than any other creature. Bats are the most populous mammal on Earth. So we must have been all bats. Is that why we like Batman so much, maybe? And we don't like Jokers. Now, it's really interesting. I got into that when I was 18. I became very reincarnation orientated, and I wanted to become a Hare Krishna. So when I was 18, I wanted to be a Hare. I wrote to them, and they wanted to know how much money I had in my bank and everything. So they just wanted my money, so I didn't join. Like most religion, they want your money. They do want your money. That's basically all religion is. It's a business. It's a business. The Catholic Church is a business run on the idea, if you bless the Pope, give the Pope money, make sure the Pope lives in luxury, and he'll make sure you'll go to heaven. It's like the Watchtower of Jehovah's Witnesses. You obey the 11 governing body members of the Watchtower, you're going to live in paradise on earth. Religion is a big scam based on the fear of death. And we shouldn't fear death, because you didn't fear before you were born. I was born in 1961. My beautiful wife Nicole was born in 1972. So in the 1950s, that was the first whole decade where Nicole and I did not exist. We did not exist in the 1950s. And we had no troubles. We had no pain. We weren't cold. We weren't hungry. We weren't tired. We weren't bored like God is. Because I reckon God is just bored out of his brain, living forever. And would you want to live forever and be bored out of your brain? And isn't it nice? You know, I'm 64 years old, and I still get tormented by bad memories. Bad memories torment me. I'm still tormented by bad memories from my past, dumb things I did. They torment me, these memories, mistakes I've made. Now, I would like to forget my bad memories, but they haunt me and they plague me. One day, When I die, I will have no memories. Those memories that are a burden and a torment to me will go, because I will not have any brain. There'll be no brain, no pain, no memories, no nothing. And that's beautiful. Or would you rather live forever like God and be bored out of his head? God was so bored that he planted a garden in Eden, and God doesn't like gardening because it bores him, so he made a gardener, Adam. That's how bored he was. No, living forever would be boring. Stuck with the same memories, the same thought loops, year in, year out. No wonder God's crazy. So we don't want to live forever. That would be a curse. Conscious torment is living forever. Death is not a bad thing. We view it as a bad thing, but it's not. It's the end of all your bad memories. No more toothache, no more heartache, no more being cold, no more being hot, no more being hungry, no more being tired, no more being bored like God. Because God is very boring. And if you want to spend eternity with God, my friend, you're welcome to spend eternity with God and get bored. And at least God, if you spend eternity with God, at least God will have someone to be bored with. Bored with you out there in skeptical land. You're skeptical of my atheism. You're skeptical of my agnosticism. You believe in something that's not real. Reality is real. The brain rots and disintegrates into liquid mush. And it probably doesn't smell very nice. That's your brain, that's your mind, the dirty mind. It rots and goes, and you're gone. Nothingness. Peaceful nothingness. So who wants to live forever? I don't live forever. It'd be awful to live forever. All being tormented by memories. And even rich people, even rich people who've got millions of dollars, they get bored with their lifestyle. They get used to a certain lifestyle. They get used to the luxurious food. They get used to luxurious clothing. They get used to luxurious lifestyle. And they get bored. They get bored because deep down they're still empty. They still have to face old age, loneliness. The longer you live, you'll start to lose your loved ones in death. The older we get, we start to lose our friends. We start to lose our social circle, and we start getting lonely because all the people that we grew up are dying. So life is tough. It gets harder and harder. Who wants it to go on forever? And a lot of people, they kind of petrified of death, and they're also petrified of life having no meaning and no purpose. Well, life doesn't have any meaning, doesn't have any purpose. You create your own purpose and meaning. You're the designer of the reason you're here. You make the reason to be alive. You make the purpose of you being here on this planet. Not any 2,000-year-old dusty book that 2,000-year-old dead men wrote. If you go back to the Old Testament, 3,500-year-old dead men wrote. You create your own story, your own meaning, and your own purpose. And as I said before, my purpose is to love my beautiful wife and cherish her. Now, your purpose will be to love your loved ones. Your purpose in life is to cherish your family, cherish your marriage mate, cherish your children, cherish your mother and your father, cherish the life that you have, and do good in life. Like these doctors are doing a wonderful job saving lives. Now, I never thank God for Nikki's recovery. I thank the doctors. I thank the doctors for their good, hard work on saving my wife's life. I don't thank God. Why should I thank God? Because when I was 1 year old in 1962, my 30-year-old mother died of an asthma attack. My 30-year died of an asthma attack when I was 1 year old in 1962. Now, is it God of love? No. When I was a little kid, everyone used to say, your mum's in heaven with God. And I thought, what the hell's she doing in heaven? I want her right down here on earth. And I always had to go at God. I always had this thing with God, like, yeah, how dare you take my mum to heaven? You got enough angels? What do you need with my mum? And she's only 30. She was only 30. And in 1988, when I was 27, Jehovah's Witnesses came knocking on my door and they dangled the carrot. Would you like to see your dead mother again? Right here on earth, in the flesh and blood, with a pet panda bear and a pet lion thrown in and a pet funnel web spider you can play with, and a pet cobra, and swim in the swimming pool with a white pointer shark that's not going to eat you. That was too much. That was the carrot that religion holds out. Jehovah's Witnesses' carrot is paradise on earth. The Catholic Church, they say you're going to walk on streets of gold. Christians say you're going to get risen from the dead like Jesus did. Jesus still died. He's not coming back. He's not coming to save you. He's not coming to save me. Jesus died and he is not coming back. Because people die, like animals die. We're fragile animals who die and rot in the ground as maggot buffet. So we do end up in the earth, back on the earth. Our bodies are part of the earth, part of the universe again. It's just the way life is. It's just the way it is. It's reality. Accept it. Accept it. And life would be a better place, if we just accept the reality of what it is, And that's basically all I wanted to say. And thanks for listening to my video. Thank you very much. Bye then.